Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 2026 driver lineup rankings. I'm Ajax. I'm joined by Sorgun.
Hello, F1 fans. Welcome.
And today we're going to be ranking our 2026 driver lineups. We obviously we haven't actually done this before, so I'm excited to do it, but also a little nervous because I don't want to, I don't want to get the wrong opinion, right? I want to be firm on my opinion, and it's a bit of a nervous one, but yes. So yeah, we're going to be ranking our teams from 11th to first, purely based on their driver lineup, nothing else but their driver lineup. We're not talking about the cars. We're just talking about the two drivers they have. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Are you?
Yes, so far I'm ready, and you explained it pretty well, so thank you. We're gonna start from bottom to top. Basically, we're gonna rank our worst team, then second worst, and so on. Not team, driver lineup specifically. We're ranking the combined strength, the ability to get constructors points from a driver lineup, not necessarily how they would do in a title fight or something. Like you would take like Bottas Hamilton pairing from the past, like that would be such a good lineup to win the titles, right? But specifically the drivers title. But in this scenario, we're just want to get at most points from the two drivers as possible in the car. So technically, this is just constructors based fully on how they would perform on track as a team. Okay.
Yeah.
Want to begin?
Yes. I'll let you begin. I began last time.
Good. Okay. My 11th place, which is I think 11th for most people, is Racing Bulls. It's we have a rookie here. Is obviously difficult to rank as his first season in F1. He showed some promise in his F1 outings, and obviously in junior career, because he got a Racing Bull seat alongside Liam Lawson, who's now fairly established. I mean, he got his first full season last year. It was a great one, but we pretty much know where he stands in the pecking order of drivers, I would say. And he's a solid driver, of course, but in the midfield there, I could name a few better drivers, I want to say. So definitely the weakest driver lineup out of the ones we have available.
Yes. Fair enough. I think I'm just gonna put it out there. We should probably alternate because I also have Racing Bulls. I think Lawson's good. I'm not sure how Lindblad's going to take his first season, but it is just the driver lineup where you have the least experience. Lawson's drive in Red Bull wasn't very good. He did come back when it was the second half of the season at the Racing Bulls. But yeah, obviously, when just thinking about it, this is purely, as we said, on the strength of the two drivers. Which drivers would you like in your F1 car? And I gotta say, they are bottom of the pack for me, unfortunately.
It's understandable, pretty much. This is one driver lineup that's agreed on pretty much by the entire community to be the weakest one currently. Obviously, we haven't seen Lindblad in an F1 car in action, specifically racing condition and so on. So we cannot judge specifically him, but overall, as a rookie, we don't expect him to be the next Max Verstappen, essentially. So
yes, exactly.
He's
18. He's 16. We won't know.
18 or 16.
Sorry, 18. Yeah, definitely not 16. Should I go next? Should we alternate so that I'm not just constantly talking after you?
Sure.
Okay, next up, this is a tricky one, I've got to say. There's a few people that I'm like, but I think I'm going to go for the Alpine in 10th place for me. Obviously, Gasly, very experienced driver, has done very well. Colapinto really looked promising in that Williams and has since dropped off or since being at Alpine. But so yeah, overall that's just where I'm leaning. Again, Colapinto hasn't had much experience in F2 because he got promoted to F1 so quickly. And as much as I appreciate Gasly, I don't think that he's one of the strongest drivers in the field. He probably doesn't make the top 10. He might be on the cusp. So yeah, it's going to end up being the Alpines to me. Just not enough experience in Colapinto and maybe let down by their car last season as well. But yeah, if I was to go, I want two drivers in my car. It's not going to be these two.
Yeah, certainly the same for me. I would go for Alpine P10 as well. Gasly, as you said, is a very, very solid driver on the cast of the top 10 best drivers on the grid. I would say definitely in that pack of top midfield drivers. Unfortunately, Colapinto, I feel like is one of the, well, not one of the, is the weakest rookie if you don't count Lawson, in my opinion, from last year's entrances. And specifically for this year, new cars, I don't feel particularly confident in Colapinto. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, despite Gasly being very good, I still don't really believe in this driver lineup as a whole. I feel like they're just a better combination of experience and raw talent in a rookie compared to Alpine.
Yeah, I think Colapinto's like got some strengths. Obviously, I think Gasly is a good driver, but when I'm looking at like the next few people, I'm gonna be like, well, I probably think that driver's better than Gasly. Is that driver a bit better than Colapinto? And we're gonna, yeah. So anyway, it's back to
Yeah,
you, good sir.
yeah. Sorry, forgot. Okay. Now, I think those two are pretty straightforward. Now you get to the little bit of a. I think we can differ here now from now on.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
I was thinking about this, and I'm gonna for this one. I'm gonna still keep my bias, and I'm gonna go with Haas next P9.
Yeah,
I was thinking of maybe having perhaps Aston even below them, but Alonso is just so good still that I don't know if I can justify that. Stroll, I mean, Stroll is Stroll, right? But he can still
yeah.
perform, like he can still get points occasionally. It's very inconsistent. I feel like Stroll is very demotivated right now. He doesn't really feel like a driver that wants to be there anymore. But now that I think about it, no. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change to Aston Martin. I feel like Ollie has been so good last season as a rookie that it mitigates the difference between Ocon and Alonso, which I don't think is that big right now. Like they've been teammates not long ago, and they've been pretty close. And I feel like Behrman is better than Stroll, more better than Stroll than Alonso is than Ocon. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay. Made a little change there, and yeah, I'm gonna go with Aston in P9. It feels criminal to have Alonso this down in the order, but Stroll is like, it's not the shiniest tool in the shed. I don't know if that's best. Up to you now, sir.
Right. For me, I am going to go your original pick of Ocon and Behrman. I think your reasoning was pretty sound. But then I don't think Stroll is god awful either, right? I think I think he certainly has some strengths. He comes into his own every now and again, especially in wet weather. So I'm gonna prop him up a little bit there. Bear in mind that he's usually our battering ram. We usually boxing bag is what I meant.
Yeah.
We usually punch down on him a little bit, which is fair. He is one of the worst drivers in the grid. But yeah, as you say, I think Behrman has been really, really good. At times, even maybe better than Ocon. I think he got more points, didn't he? Yeah, he did. I think he's been really strong and very quick in that Haas. I think this. I think at this point, though, I would take any other drive. I would take these driver combos, right? So yeah, Ocon and Behrman, pretty high up. I am actually thinking now. You might be right. If I put them in a quick car, what's going to happen? But I'll come back to that as we keep going on. And then yeah, the next pick for me. Oh, this is a difficult one. I think I'm going to go. I think I'm gonna stick to my guns and go Alonso and Stroll. Um, as I said, I think if you want two drivers to get you points, Ocon and Behrman are a good set of people. But I'm thinking if you put them all in a midfield car, I think Alonso is consistent enough, is skilled enough as a racer to constantly get points, right? And I think you've seen that last season. He was constantly getting points, making sure that Aston didn't, stayed in the championship a little bit. And I think Stroll will pick up points every now and again. So if you put them in a high up position, maybe you want Behrman and Ocon. But I think if you had like a midfield car, Alonso, and even in a high up position, I expect Alonso to get first places. Right? He is just that skilled. He's one of the best to do it in F1. And obviously he is looking for that win that's been away from him from so long, but hopefully he will eventually get it. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Aston Martin got more points than Haas last season. I think their cars were about similarly skilled. So yeah, that's my point. Although Behrman is now better, so maybe going into next season, I would be wrong.
Yeah, I feel like the next like couple of round lineups are very close to each other. I mean, difficult to choose, but yeah, I've got an order in mind already. So I think so. I'm not gonna change it from now on. Next up is Haas, obviously. I've changed it with Aston. I just want to say at least with that group. Haas, I still feel like you said, Alonso is probably like the best of these four, right?
Yeah.
When you put him in a car, it's gonna give you the most points of these four. But I feel like as a duo, I kind of feel like the Haas duo will get more points, like combined than Aston in this case. So that's why I actually chose Haas over Aston for P8. Yeah, I really like this driver lineup, honestly. Berman is one of my favorite rookies. Obviously, yeah, they're none of the better rookies. Okay, sorry. Just yeah, one of the more likable drivers on the grid. Ocon, I've always kind of liked him. So this is like one of those lineups I always root for whenever they do well in the Haas.
Yeah.
I just like to see that because like they're not the drivers that I want to not see do well. So yeah, okay. Enough about that. Audi next P7. I kind of was already spoiled that. But thinking about these three and changing them in my mind for this video, I feel like I would just put Audi over Haas, even though yeah, like maybe going to this season, it may end up differently, but I still feel like the experience of Hulkenberg and I think Bortoleto can match Behrman in talent. I don't think people
Yeah.
can doubt that. He's been extremely quick, and Hulkenberg at his best, I feel like is still like one of those drivers on the grid that can get you a best weekend of the car available at that point. Obviously, I think Ocon is an amazing driver as well, but it's just with a little bit of bias involved. I will still put Hulkenberg over Ocon. In like whenever I would choose a car purely objectively, I would put in my car Hulkenberg over Ocon specifically. So
Yeah.
and with Behrman and Bortoleto, they're pretty much equals for me currently. I don't feel like I can tell who's better right now. Both of them had great rookie seasons with great highs and some a bit bad lows. So yeah, just purely a little bias with objective thinking. Hulkenberg, I feel like I would take him over Ocon. So P7 for Audi.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point. Um, so for me, I am going to go also for Audi. Now, I think these two probably made the Audi car quicker than it seemed last season. I think they're very skilled drivers. I mean, just look at what Bortoleto did in F2 that season. He was very, superb throughout. So I think that's a big reason for why I'm going for these two. And then I just think Hulkenberg has loads of experience, has the skills to be able to race. As you say, these three are really close. I'm going to say also probably both our sixth pick is also very close to this, but maybe we a bit unsure on that. So yeah, I think throughout there's a lot to be said about how quick these two drivers actually are. I think they were in a car last season that wasn't great, and so therefore I think that I'm excited for next season. I think we're getting a really quick, hopefully Audi, which would be really cool. Really cool to see these two up front.
Yes, definitely. Like you said, next two are very close to each other as well. So you can go with your P6.
Yes, my P6 is Bottas and Perez. Obviously, this is a bit of a Indian summer, I would say, for the two of them. But they've both proven in the past to be very skilled drivers. Perez with his defense is incredible. Same with Bottas, to be fair. They're both really quick drivers. I'm excited to see how they perform going into this F1 season because we have no idea how the Cadillac's going to perform themselves. Obviously, they're going to have a Ferrari engine. There's a bit of a worry around that, but altogether, I'm excited to see this pair together because I think they were literally the right hand mans of two of the best F1 drivers out there. They have so much experience they're bringing to the table. I'm hoping that they'll be able to be quick, even if I'm slightly worried the Cadillac might be the slowest car.
Yeah, the fear is real. With kind of like honestly, with a new team entering the sport, it's always a little bit of a dice roll. But since it's completely new regulations, they have more chance than they would have if they entered last year, for example. So there's still some hope, but I feel like most people think that that car will not have that much speed in it. And yeah, with this, well, yeah, it's my turn. Obviously, I have two drive lineups to pick. Gonna spoil it. It's Williams and Cadillac, right? The next two, they're so close. Honestly, I have the order in mind, right? But those two are the closest driver pairing probably in here, since a lot of people seem to forget just how good Perez and Bottas are, especially in the midfield car. Like those two are absolutely beasts, and they can get you so many points. Very consistent, very experienced. Just put them in a car and they will perform, unless it's obviously Red Bull and like Max that's just was one of those difficult scenarios for Checo. I still feel like Perez is yeah. If you would put Perez at Williams, for example, from last year, he would perform around the level of Sainz and Albon. I feel like the same with Bottas. Those four drivers are very close to each other. Just would pick the Williams drivers over the Cadillac drivers for one specific reason, and that's the recency, basically more recent success for them, because both Cadillac drivers obviously missed last year, so we have more sample size, more recent sample size from the Williams drivers, and we saw Sainz what he did in Ferrari. He was able to beat Charles like in the third of a season basically, and Alex was on Sainz's level over the entire season. Obviously, both of them had different parts of the season when they were good, but over the entire season they're very very close to each other. Like purely from recent sample size, I would pick Williams over Cadillac. So Cadillac P6 and Williams P5. But honestly, I would love to see those two teams like fighting equal cars who would get most points, because that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm about to talk sort of about that. But I think, as you say, the fact that Bottas and Perez have had a season out, their last season was pretty poor for both of them, wasn't it? With their respective teams, so that'll definitely be weighing on them. And then as there's a little bit to be said, I think, about maybe a lack of winning instinct from the two of them. I think they both were in teams where perhaps the other driver was preferred and therefore pushed down a little bit. So I'm excited to hopefully see them sort of rise up against that. And I'm basically saying that to say I actually think there's a bit more of a gap. I personally, for me, my 9, 8, 7, 6 was really close. Whereas I thought the Williams were slightly quicker, which is actually why I am going to put the Mercedes drivers as my P5 spots.
Okay. Did not expect that.
Yeah, I think personally, I think Russell's very, very good. Superb driver. And I think Antonelli did start coming into his own last season a little bit. But when I look at it and I go, well, Antonelli wasn't incredible in F2, right? I think he has got moved up pretty quickly because, and he still got wins in F2. And that's pretty amazing. So we can't knock that. But I think yeah, I think he obviously didn't have a great start to. Well, he'd had a decent start, and then he had a very poor mid-season. So that's what's sort of bringing it down here for me. That poor mid-season. I think Russell's obviously superb. He's my favourite for the title at the moment. But if I'm just thinking, if I had two drivers, I would prefer to have Sainz and Albon. I think they're consistent. They really, really shocked me last season with how good they were. Obviously, both in varying different points. But yeah, I think the Williams drivers are quick, very, very consistent. If I'm going for two drivers, I'd pick them over them, which is why they are actually in my fourth slot, which I know is a bit of a shock. But as I say, I just think that there's a bit more of a gap there from two drivers that have consistency. Obviously, Albon hasn't been in the front row for a long time since his days at Red Bull, and even then, he was in the next to Max Verstappen's seat, as we should call it. And Sainz was obviously amazing at Ferrari. And the fact that Albon managed to match Sainz and actually get more points than him last season is why I'm putting them a bit more above. I think the consistency of those two would outweigh the maybe inconsistency of Antonelli, even if Russell is better. Sort of the opposite of what I was talking about with Behrman and Alonso, but a lot closer.
Okay, so that's interesting. I did not expect you to have one of the top four teams outside of the top four. Honestly, I like it.
Thank you.
Solid reasoning, and I'm not that far off. Honestly, my P4 is Mercedes in this case. Now I'll say that I was thinking between Mercedes and Ferrari, but in this scenario, I feel like Russell and Leclerc they're pretty much comparable right now. I feel like both of them are around the same level. In terms of value as a driver, honestly, I wouldn't bet against any of them against each other. Like either of them against each other, because honestly, I don't know who would come out on the top between Russell and Leclerc at this point. Difference comes in the number two drivers. As harsh as it is it feels just so wrong to call Lewis Hamilton the number two driver, but the reality is that he's just not in his prime anymore. But simply going to 2026, I feel like going forward into the future, I definitely, like in 2 years' time, I would pick Antonelli over Hamilton for sure. But right now, I still feel like going to completely new regulations. I would put Lewis's value over Antonelli's. in pretty much every regard. Whether it's speed, consistency, experience, and so on. I just feel like he can start relatively fresh in 2026 with a completely new car that can slightly alter to his side more than he could with last year's Ferrari. Uh, Perhaps Antonelli improves even more than from last season, but that's also a wild card because we've seen Antonelli having very different stretches of the season last year. Like in Europe, it was horrible to say the least, and outside of the Euro, it was pretty good, right? Uh, so yeah, consistency. Sorry, consistency wise, especially taking Lewis over Antonelli, and this is why I'm having Ferrari in P3 over Mercedes. Uh, could argue Red Bull close to them as well, but I feel like this is yeah, I think I can agree with my own order.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, our orders continue to differ because my P3 is Red Bull. Obviously, I think Hajar is quite a quick driver. I think he's proven it last season. He did really well, especially getting that podium at Racing Bulls. I think that I'm excited to see him in this Red Bull seat. I really hope that the car is maybe not as bounced to Max as it is to the past few seasons. And obviously, Max Verstappen is one of the greatest drivers there is out there. He's superb. He has been phenomenal for years now. The fact that he was only within 3 points or something at the end of the season, maybe it was two, I can't remember.
2 points. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 points. He is just superb. He is the number one in the sport, right? I'm not gonna argue that. But I do think as if I'm this is what I've been doing with this one with like the top teams is I've been ranking the drivers from best to worst and then just doing the average of the drivers. So I think whilst Hadjar has had an amazing season, would I put him over people like Sainz and Albon yet? I don't think so. Would I put him over like Piastri, Norris, Hamilton, Leclerc, so on and so forth? Not so much. So yeah, that's my reasoning. That's why I've got them in third place. But you would want Max Verstappen in your team no matter what. I think that's important to say. So yeah. And what should I do my top? I don't want to do just second place and
Yeah,
then not, and then
you
just
can do it
leave
first as
first.
well.
Yeah. So in second place, I have got the McLarens.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Um, this might be cope, but I will explain my reasoning. I think the McLarens were quick last season. I think honestly we sometimes put them down because they were in the quickest car. But at times I don't think it was the quickest car. I think at times a lot of people got back to them. But obviously overall in the season it was the quickest. But I think they did well. I really think they're a strong pairing. They obviously have the papaya rules, which maybe screws them over a little bit. But yeah, I want to give them their dues. I think that we actually, sometimes we rate them a bit lower than they actually are, because I think they are quick and a strong pairing together. If there's two drivers, I think are the closest in the F1 grid overall. I think it's these two. I think they really are just completely matched and a great pairing to have. And yeah, I know it's controversial, but for me, it's Leclerc and Hamilton. I get that your point that Hamilton obviously had a poor season last year. I don't think that racing skill has just dropped off. I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that he is not a fan of the ground effect era. I think a lot of it is going into a new team, the struggles there. I think, that Ferrari was obviously a tractor come the end of the season as well. So I'm really excited for this next season because think he'll be a lot quicker, a lot stronger of a driver. I don't know if this Ferrari will be stronger of a car. That's the issue. But yeah, I think he is a seven times world champion for a reason. I don't think that's gone overnight. I think the fact that you look at like Hamilton versus Russell in 2024, I would say they were probably the Mercedes team were leaning towards helping out Russell because obviously Russell was going to be the driver still remaining there for the rest of the season. And I think that for Hamilton that meant that he was on the lowest end of the scale, and he still always seemed to be right next to Russell in every race. No matter where he started from, he somehow always finished behind or just behind or just ahead of Russell. And I think that says all you can about Lewis Hamilton. He is a seven-world champion. He is one of the goats of the sport. And then Charles Leclerc is just ridiculously quick. I think the fact that he's been in this Ferrari for so long, the fact that the Ferrari team is such a mess all the time has really negatively affected him. He should be a world champion even already. And the fact that he isn't is a deep sadness to me. Obviously, he did really well last season, despite that car being a tractor. And hopefully, we haven't really seen him in the ground effect era too much. Obviously, we saw him bits and pieces, especially when he moved to Ferrari when there was Vettel there and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm excited to see him going into to engine mode next year and seeing how he performs as well. I think this is still for me when they joined together, I was like, this is the best driver lineup, and I think still for me they are.
Okay. Wow. You got some big surprises in here. I didn't expect. Honestly, very valid reasoning with all of that. Just yeah, like when I look at these lineups, I just when I would put them all in equal cars. Imagine like spec series,
Mhm.
all equal reliability, equal
Yes,
setups, so on.
yes, that's what I'm thinking.
I just couldn't see any team beating McLaren. And I have Red Bull in P2. I kind of spoil that as well. I tend to do that for some reason. Okay, so first off, Red Bull in P2. This is purely based on if you would put them all in equal cars. I have no doubts that
Yes,
Max would win most of them. It's just that he's just
yes, yeah,
that
I
good.
agree.
And he extracts the most of the car, like 23 out of 24 races of the season. He's just ridiculously good that he's gonna get you constructor style edge at his own pretty much most of the time, unless he's against the quicker car. Hajar, look, he showed some very good promise last season, but still very raw. Can exactly rank him among the other top teams drivers just yet. But I feel like he could do relatively well, and I feel like the gap that Max creates over everyone else is just enough for Hedgehog to just settle in and get enough points for them to be the second best driver lineup, in my opinion. When it comes to McLaren, the winners of the last two constructors titles, I just don't feel like any team could beat them in the constructors fight with equal cars. I just feel like those two are so close to each other, so quick, so talented that they're just trading points. And like we saw last year, like they're just so close up until the last race. They're within one race, last race that decided the title between them. Obviously Max in there as well. Uh, yeah, I just like as a driver pairing, they're just so strong. Obviously, they don't have the. I just don't feel like they yet have a top three driver among them, but they're all of them is like top six, definitely 100%. You can argue for
Yeah.
top five. Having that amount of talent and speed in your car, definitely, I would put them over any other team on the grid, in my opinion. If I would want to have a driver lineup from these teams, 11 teams for this year, I would pick McLaren, honestly. Just I feel like it's just a safe bet on them to perform at a very close level to each other, very close to the ceiling of the car, sometimes at it, sometimes over it, as we've seen. Those two drivers are mistake prone sometimes, but they're also extremely talented and extremely good, and I feel like over time they will be regarded as better and better as we go through the years. Lando just won the title, right?
Yes. Yeah.
it's it's obviously one of the weaker title wins that we've seen in the last decades, but still, like, you cannot argue that against him much now. He's just got the title. Like, from years to come, he's gonna be regarded as better and better because just that the recency, all the things that all the models and all the race starts like flops and everything that is gonna be just removed from memories as time goes on, and he's just everyone's gonna remember that he won a title in 2025,
Yeah.
and yeah, like can't get it away from him now. Just impossible now. He's a world champion, and I feel like this driver lineup is just the best right now you can offer.
Yeah, I think that's a good reason. Yeah, and yeah, our full list
Yes.
now done. So, should we go through what our average position is?
Okay. So in last place, no surprise, is Racing Bulls at P11. We both having a P11. So average rating of 11th place. Then it's Alpine in 10th place, average rank of 10th place. Both of us agreed there. Then next up, it's a tie for 8th place at 8.5 rating of Aston Martin and Haas. Then we move over to 7th place, Audi, uh, average rating of 7. Then it's P6, Cadillac, average rating of 6. So far pretty simple. Now we get to the little different part. We have a tie for P4 between Mercedes and Williams at 4.5 average rating. Then it's a P3 for Red Bull Racing at 2.5 average rating. Then it's a Ferrari P2 of average rating of 2. The combine of 3 and 1. Yeah, it's a little bit of help from your side, but yeah. And it's obviously McLaren 1.5 average rating of at first place. It's yeah, McLaren. Pretty good pick. So from our side, I feel like I can agree on our list, on our average list as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what we would say. I was I was pretty torn between Haas and Aston Martin at one point. I just switched them over. 8.5, I feel like that makes sense. They're very close to each other. Williams and Mercedes, average rating the same as well. Maybe I would leave over to Mercedes in this case, but 4.5 still they're close enough to each other. Then it's arguable that they could have the same rating, and I feel like the rest is pretty much what I would give them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it would be interesting to do this with drivers as well, rather than just the lineup one day.
Yeah,
See which is our best driver.
like ranking of drivers. Yeah, perhaps that's doable, but that would be very difficult as well.
Well, yeah, that is true. That is true.
It is like a bunch of like 5, 6 midfield drivers that I would not know like who would I put first, 6, or 7, or third. Or, like it's very difficult. Yeah. Honestly, I have one clear number one, and that's Max, and probably last place would be Lindblad just because it's a rookie, right? Apart from that, like, from P2 to P21, I would be very confused as to who to pick.
I reckon I could do it. I definitely could do it. I reckon.
Okay, you believe in yourself a little bit more than I do. Yeah, we perhaps can do that before season starts. We have still have a lot of time. We have 1.5 months left. I think the testing starts pretty soon as well. So yeah, F1 is coming back, and we're very excited to share the season with you. So thank you, everyone, and we'll leave the outro to me as Jason the intro. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, have a great weekend to everyone, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Peace.